Hello, my name is Dr. Caroline Walker. I am a NHS-based psychiatrist and psychotherapist, and I specialise full-time in the wellbeing of doctors and healthcare professionals. I had been making a series of videos about how to stay well during COVID as a doctor and healthcare professional. And today I would really like to talk about some of those slightly more hidden heroes amongst us, some of those that are perhaps working on the front lines that people don't realise are the front lines, and that's GPs. I've been hearing a lot and actually worrying quite a bit about GPs lately. In the last few weeks, I've been hearing a lot from GPs who perhaps found the initial COVID pandemic phase, really quite stressful and anxiety provoking, the way that they've had to completely rearrange the way that they're working and seeing patients, and the impact that that's had. Many GPs feeling incredibly tired and exhausted, that perhaps they might have had a slightly quieter period than they had expected for a while, but it's really starting to heat up again now, and they're having to work in new ways with patients that perhaps aren't quite as satisfying as they usually would be, trying to work from home, balancing childcare and other responsibilities, working virtually, not getting that lovely warm face-to-face feedback that they're used to getting from seeing their patients as often as they do in their normal working life. Lots of tensions now growing between staff members within GP practices and between practices as people are more tired, and as the pandemic kind of goes on, and as we start to realise that this is here to stay, and that in fact that things could get quite a bit worse over the winter months, with the potential of quite a difficult second wave to come. I'm hearing from new GPs who've kind of worked, all of their lives so far up to date to become a GP, and then just at the point when they're finally about to qualify, they've had their exams completely changed around, having to sit exams in very different ways, or people who are perhaps in their first year of being a fully qualified GP, and actually that's been during this time of a pandemic and how difficult that's been for them. But also GPs at the other end of their career, perhaps nearing retirement, perhaps starting to question whether GP is ever going to return to GP as they know it before their retirement comes. And a lot of GPs who were perhaps really quite sort of on the edge of burnout before COVID came along, that actually this has then been really the straw that's broken the camel's back, one stress too many, or making them really think about their job and their career in a very different way to how they had been. So I guess what I want to get across today is that, if you're a GP out there and you can identify with any of these feelings, that you are not alone in this, that there are many, many thousands of GPs up and down the country, and family practitioners across the world, in fact, that are struggling with these issues, working in different ways, feeling very different about their work to how they had done previously. And I think what I would really recommend as my sort of top tips are to think about the long-term game here, because this isn't as becoming quite evident, is not going to be over in a hurry. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And so it's really, really important that you give yourself permission and you take the time you need to rest between shifts, but also to take things like annual leave. I think hearing from many people who are not sure about taking leave over the summer months because the plans that they'd made have been cancelled because of COVID, or not quite sure what to do, or maybe they should save up their leave for the winter because they're really worrying about what's to come. And what I would say is that it's really, really important to take leave and to take some breaks now while you can, and to get ahead of it, to get rested, because actually we as human beings don't do particularly well when we just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going until we break. So I would say see it as an essential part of your professional development and maintenance of your practice, so that you look after yourself. You're your number one asset in your job, and and you must, really take that seriously and put on your own oxygen mask first before, you think about how you can look after others. I would also say now would be a really good time if you are still struggling, if you're finding that the stress and strains of those first few weeks of lockdown and the COVID pandemic have not eased for you, that actually you are still not sleeping particularly well, you're still really struggling to get through the day, or you're particularly anxious, or you're really struggling, then I think now would be a really great time to get some help and to reach out to one of the many free and confidential support services available to you. I'd like to signpost a couple of those to you today. For those of you in England, you can self-refer to practitionerhealth.nhs.uk. If you go to the website, you can self-refer, and it's a wonderful service. I do some work with them, in fact, so you can see somebody a bit like me that you can have some time and support. It's completely free and completely confidential. For those of you who aren't in England, please do still visit the website, because actually there's lots and lots of free resources for anybody that can access. There's webinars, there's free access to apps, wellbeing apps. There's also links to lots of free therapy and support out there for you. So please do go and check out their wellbeing page as well. That's practitionerhealth.nhs.uk. I'd also like to highlight the free NHS support line that's being run via Shout, which is by text, which is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's to text frontline to 85258. That's text frontline to 85258. So I would just put that in your phone now, save it as a, in case of emergency, in case of a bad day, you've just had enough, you just need a safe place to talk about what's happened or to land, then I'd really recommend texting that service. And as always, you can always get in touch with me if you would like some more personalised signposting to support. That caroline@joyfuldoctor.com. In terms of getting through this, what you do next, there are a million choices for you, and I think it's just really important, as I say, to make sure that you stay looking after yourself and your well-being. But I'd also really recommend at this point trying to reconnect with what it is that the meaning that you find in your work. Because sometimes when something like this comes along, we can get very caught up in the kind of the drama of the moment to moment, the day to day, the week to week, the changes, and the how do I keep up, and how do I keep myself safe and my loved ones safe, and actually that can become, even though it's quite high stress, can become quite boring, and it can take out the kind of the meaning behind what we're doing. So I just invite you to spend a couple of moments now when you finish watching this video just thinking about, why is it I do this job? What's this about for me? What do I get from this? And yes, it might be a bit different at the moment. You may interact with patients in a slightly different way, for example, maybe more online than in person, but just still reconnecting to that meaning behind it will really help you through this. And once again, please do look after yourselves. You have to give yourself permission to put yourself first, because we cannot help other people unless we help ourselves first. So I hope that's been helpful. Please do let me know, comment below. Let me know if you'd like me to do more videos. I know I haven't done one for a little while, and the ones I did back at the beginning of the pandemic were watched by thousands of people and got some incredible feedback, and I really appreciated that. And if these videos are helpful and if you'd like me to do more, I'd really like to hear from you. So please do comment or send me an email at caroline@joyfuldoctor.com if there's a particular topic you'd like me to cover. Take care. I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.